The pandemic shut everything down. And then I was like, how can we teach them art? How can we teach them Braille? I had this little toy that sort of works like this, that when you are, demonstrating, some people might say, oh, I have that toy. It costs $20, on Amazon. Say, yeah, but if you touch it, the balls fall down. You can't really do anything with it. So that's what took a lot of design. In fact, it took a year and a half to get it so there's springs underneath every single ball. So when you make a line, you could touch it 1,000 times and it won't go down until I want it to go down, and then it goes down nice and easy. I can either push it back down or I could sweep it down with the side of the stylus like this.
Just to also consider how powerful the Braille Doodle is for parents interacting with their children and for children with vision loss playing with their sighted peers. When I brought Braille Doodle to a conference where there were all adults, but even though they were the ones losing their vision, they saw the Braille Doodle and all they could think about was how they could play with their grandkids, how their grandchildren who had sight would be able to draw them pictures that they would then be able to feel and touch. So,
In every box, okay, you have the directions in Braille and the directions, right? This takes you to the website, right? And it's the website page that says directions and lessons. Is it takes you right through all the hints. It could, lead a blind person through beginning on the Braille Doodle. On this side, we'll start with the Braille side. In the upper left-hand corner is the A. It has 6 dots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but only dot 1 works. You could feel 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but only dot 1 works. And then over here, I repeat it. So we call this the teaching cell and then the practice cell. So where we teach and where we practice. So we teach here, dots 1 and 2 for B, and then we practice here. Dots 1 and 2 for B, right?
Yeah.
And underneath the practice cell is the actual Braille, because it's really important to feel the real Braille right away.
Yeah.
But you like they all work, right? So I could fix it until it matches. So it's almost like a game,
Yeah.
and it makes it nice and relaxed, and we had a lot of adults, like when we have adults come up and they're blind or they've gone blind, and we say Braille Doodle, sometimes they say, oh, Braille. No, no, I don't do Braille, right? We say, wait 1 minute. Like, maybe just check this out for a minute. You don't have to learn the whole alphabet. You don't have to learn, maybe you just learn the numbers. So when you're on an elevator and your phone doesn't work, you can know where you are. Just little things to maybe help a blind adult feel more independent. And I'll tell you, Vitor, between that and the fact that they could do art and do art with their children and with their grandchildren. So originally I was designing this like for beginners, for children, like, oh, little kids could do this. But now 50% of our customers are adults. So you go out through the whole alphabet and then you have some capital sign, number sign, and some contractions and for of the and with. Now you're going to have some letters that are not in English, right? It's going to be some transitions. One thing that you could do to immediately handle that is we have stencils that go on the back. So these stencils slide on and stay in place like this. A couple letters that are not English letters or that have accents or things like that.
Yeah.
So you can introduce the English on this side, and then on this side, you could fill in whatever's missing. This is the letter with the accent. This is the letter, these two put together make up this letter. Another great thing about BrailleDoodle is as a teacher, like I used to teach reading, I just teach letters. That's kindergarten, preschool. We teach letters to 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds. But
Mm-hmm.
then you have to learn words and sentences. So from at, you have to go cat. The fat cat sat on a mat.
Yeah.
And then you're reading and writing. Down here, you have 19 Braille cells that go across. I could do capital Daniel. That's my name, Daniel. Down here, you have the actual Braille. It's kind of hard to see in this light, but it's
Mm-hmm.
the A, B, C, D. So that's the alphabet and also a sentence. So you have an example of a sentence, but it's a special sentence called "The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog." It has every English letter in that one sentence. Well, we have lots of blind kids, but they have some vision. So
Yeah.
they're not doing Braille. And I was like, no, we are very much, we're proponents of Braille,
Mm-hmm.
okay, even for kids with low vision, because vision changes. Or you be just introduced to Braille, just have like the first, like, boom, you get the first letters, or you just get the first feeling of what it is. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
flipping over to this side, right? There's 1,333 dots here. We could do curves and stuff like that. When I demonstrate curves, I make them nice and big. But here I could do all kinds of different things. I could do triangles, right triangles, obtuse triangles, acute triangles, angles, and what we call it orientational mobility training. Someone is training them to either walk with a dog, walk with
Yeah.
a cane, walk around town. So with this, I could instantly give you a map. So I could say, we are here, right? I want to get you to the bathroom. So what you're going to do is you're going to go down about this many steps, and then you're going to make a right. You're going to come
Mm-hmm.
down here, you're going to make a left, you're going to go down here, and the bathroom is right here. And you have, one street coming like this, another street coming like this, things like this are rather hard to explain. I want to get from here over to here. So what do
Mm-hmm.
I do? You know? So the best way is like this. So let me explain it to you. So first you're going to go this way. And so I call it the math doodle. So on top it says math doodle. It's all the squares, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I put this on, it divides it up all into cubes like that. And then you have 4 dots in every single cell. Right here, immediately I could do like 2 cats, 3 dogs, and 1 horse. So right away, I'm making bar graphs that I could feel. But not only that, here's the important part, is I could say, what if the cat has kittens? Oh, well, add 3 kittens onto the cats. Now the student adds it. 1, 2, 3. Now this is my bar graph. That is like the most important thing, I think. As a teacher, you want the student to be working to doing it themselves. You don't want to be, we have these things, they're $20,000, right? And we're going to hand it to them and say, look, you could feel this. This is what the graph feels like.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're gonna change the graph. So let me type this in and look, now feel it. This is what the graph feels like.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's very different than the student doing it themselves. You could put any number into one of these cells.
Mm-hmm.
The numbers for Braille are the top 4 dots. So A, B, C, D is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I could put 124 here, 34 here. And now I can multiply these.
Mm-hmm.
And I could do the whole multiplication all the way down here.
Okay.
And so this way we could do multiplication, we could do division, addition, subtraction, put everything in its place. There's also things that are for high school and even beginning college, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if you feel this, you'll feel dots that go through the XY axis. Okay, so I have my X-way axis here, and now I could do, if I'm blind, I could plot the point -3, -5, -2, +4. But I'm counting it, I'm putting it together. Again, the student is doing it, not you. You're not showing the student. All of a sudden, we have the ability to be graphing equations, and higher level things become possible. They're even using these in universities in the United States already to do calculations that get into calculus and many things I don't understand. And I'm glad I don't have to. It's important when we're doing mathematics is it changes. So if I say, like, if I put a -2 into this equation, what happens? So I don't have to say, wait, let me go print it out for you.
Okay.
Okay, so let me print it out and show you. Or again, let me use this $20,000 thing to put in the equation and then show it to you.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're going to put a -2 in, you're going to replot the positions, and then you're going to see that the graph goes like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is my favorite because I was the art teacher, right? So if I put the art stencil on, there's nothing else that shows you perspective. Like, is this tree bigger than this house?
Mm-hmm.
Is it taller? What if
No.
the tree was further away?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like mountains are not in our face. As a sighted person, we have perspective. And at this price, and that's the other thing that, we usually say that this is a mission-driven thing. We
Mm-hmm.
want to have many, many students have them, and someday students who can't afford them to have them. It doesn't matter if you could afford it. We want people who can afford it to have grants for people who can't afford it. If the teacher is teaching 50 kids around a certain area,
Mm-hmm.
she should have 50 Braille doodles. Every kid should have a Braille doodle that they keep.
Mm-hmm.
The teacher doesn't have to have it back or whatever. It's inexpensive enough that the student can have it. They could use it for Braille, they could use it for elementary school, they could use it for high school, and so on.